Hey, what's up everybody? Andre, A-N-D-R-E at, wait a minute, that's not my name. I'm just messing with you guys. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Andre with AndreReeseDotBiz. All right guys, I am, as I've said many times before in the past, I am your favored Cyclecast technical expert. That would make me a expert of Cyclecast, of cyclecasting. And I'm out here today in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm happy and glad you guys tuned in for another ride. And so this is my second ride, I think, of the brand new January, or not January, but June year. So welcome aboard. And I want to thank you guys again for always tuning in. And without these, wouldn't be able to make it happen. So let's just go ahead and jump in real quick to the topics today. Then I'll do my B-roll like I normally do. And then we'll get ahead and get started with these topics. So today we're going to hit up 4 topics real quick. I'm going to talk to you guys about this ad I keep getting hit up with left and right and center, constant on TikTok, everywhere, Instagram, on YouTube. It's Couirsive Ai Ads. I'm gonna talk to you guys about that. Also, a lot of folks end up watching my videos about the dating stuff, so I'm gonna have another installment today, and the quest to be able to find a mate and understand and survive in this dating world. So we're going to talk about, you know, the types of relationships that there are. They're pretty much undisputed. And the last 2 things we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, and most importantly, why you are always getting hurt and having your feelings be upset. And then finally, the last thing we'll talk about is love is overrated. There we go. So I said it, love itself is overrated. What everybody's out here on this earth looking for, I'm telling you guys, it is overrated. There's a better way to go about it. So let's go ahead and jump into in other news with the B-roll today. So like I said, I'm out here on today, I think Thursday, and great weather. And so the thermometer, it says right now it's 65 degrees. It's supposed to get up to 88 out here today. The humidity is unnoticeable, but I know it's there in the air a little bit. And you know, a great day to ride. And so right now I think it's close to 8:30. I meant to get out a little bit earlier, but I was doing some stuff for some clients. So, you know, the chance for me to exit a little bit sooner didn't happen like I thought it would. So all good, nobody's tripping. And you know, heading into this weekend coming up. So today's Thursday, we got Friday tomorrow and Saturday, and I don't think we have anything super planned right now for this weekend. So we did go see the Back Rooms movie. I think it was on Tuesday night, and so I will definitely do a review on that. And there's a couple of other ones that I've seen recently too. I think it was the Sheep Detective. Talk to you guys about that one. And I think the other one is God Is. Man, that wild monstrosity of a movie. So I'll talk to you guys about that movie also as well. I'll probably just do them all at one time, either later this week or next week. And so other than that, nothing is exciting. I think we're gonna go out tonight. I'm gonna take Marilyn on to one of our favorite date spots. So we go here periodically, you know, maybe, I think right now about once a month or every month and a half or so. That way it doesn't get too blown out and, you know, to the point where you kind of over expect from it. So where's that spot? Taking her to Costco. So we enjoy going to Costco and walking around in there, getting what we need. So there's enough stuff that we need in bulk that it's better just to buy it from them every once in a while. So we're gonna go there tonight and work on that. So all good. Yeah, so nothing big going on with the Reese's these days. And just like I said, out here enjoying life. I think summer is officially here on June 20th. So at this point here, if you take the beginning of June as the start of summer and go 90 days out, you know, the question is, what are you guys going to do with your life? And add some ideas or add some information or some photos to your reel on your phone so that you have something to show for the summer. So, you know, it doesn't have to be anything too major or too crazy. You know, there's plenty of things you can do for free. Just take and make the ordinary look extraordinary. So I did a whole topic about that, so you guys can always go back and check that on one of the previous videos. So okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's first topic. So today's first topic is, and let me say, it's Couirsive Ai Ads. And I tell you, they tickle me, they really do. I watch all of them all the way through. They're probably about 2 or 3 minutes long. Sometimes it seems like they're a little bit longer, but I definitely enjoy watching the ads. And so, let me say this before I start. I think my phone knows that I'm black, because a lot of times these ads that come up, I'm like, these are specifically geared towards black people. They really are. And so I'll tell you, before I even start, on a scale of 1 to 10, the quality of their ads, I would easily give them a 10. I really enjoy watching them. And so what is Couirsive AI? So essentially, Couirsive AI is an app you can download for your computer, probably for your phone or for your tablet. And it's an educational learning application that allows you to get up to date on the latest tools that are available for using AI across multiple different providers. And so I think they have essentially a 28-day course that you can take, 15 minutes a day. It's supposed to be like the Duolingo of AI learning applications. I don't know if that's reasonable. A lot of people spend a lot of time on Duolingo and they never learn how to speak the language. So maybe it is a good comparison. Who knows? I've not done it, haven't taken it, and I have no plans of doing it. So essentially what's happening is they're trying to get people to sign up for a reduced amount to take the training course. That's for 28 days, 15 minutes a day. And at the end of the 28 days, you're going to be capable of walking in there, getting a promotion to director, or, you know, solving a lot of the major problems that your company has. And, you know, and if you've been underfunded and underpaid, they'll give you a substantial raise to get you up to all the new people that are coming in. So they like I said, the ads, they really tickle me completely. And so some of the ads that they have, a lot of times it's the underdog in there. They have such, and let me just say this one other thing. The ads always have, they're generated by AI themselves. So they've used a prompt engineer that is familiar with the technology. They've essentially created all these ads, and they're all 100% AI, real talking heads and that type of stuff. And so it's all computer generated. So it definitely goes along the line of, if they're able to crank out these multiple ads and push them out, and they're all AI and they're all high quality, you know, it would definitely lend you towards thinking that this is definitely a good investment. So like I said, I'm not here to criticize one way or another if you should do it. This is not an endorsement. I'm just talking about the ads only. So Very, very cool. I'm really, really impressed with them. And so, like I said, a lot of the ads will have a basis for them where, like I said, there's an underdog. So, like for example, it's most of the time, it's brothers and sisters. You know, we're working for a company. We may have been there for a long time and keep getting passed over, and you finally get the courage to go in there and confront the man, and he's like, hey, can't do it, can't increase your money at all, it's not gonna happen. You know, matter of fact, we're going to double your workload. Or there's a situation where, you know, you're the underdog and the manager doesn't like you, and they're talking to the other colleagues and the other side of the hall, and they don't know that you're there, and they're talking about, you know, Katrina or Cassandra, you know, or Denisha, she's not capable of making this happen, you know. So what ends up happening is, you know, or they come out of a major training meeting and they've all decided that they're going to get rid of this lady or this man, and they're all going to team up together and double and triple and fourple their workload. That way they crack and they quit. Then they also have immigrants. You know, there's folks that are from some of the Southeast Asian countries that are there, you know, that are struggling, you know, to try to make it happen. And they want to get rid of them also as well, you know. But majority of them, like I said, they're really geared towards situations that everybody complains about at work. You know, being overworked, being underpaid, other people that are there, they get all the opportunities and the promotions. And so this is definitely your chance to get the leg up. And by using the app 15 minutes a day, you'll be able to get the certificate. Then on the last day, you can kind of barrel in there with the certificate and tell the guy, you know, hey, you know, I'm ready to go. And so a couple of my favorite ones, or actually there's a recent one that happened. So what's going on with this one is there's a older guy, older gentleman, brother, married to a black woman. He's probably in his late 50s, late in his career, very nice looking guy. And he's, you know, struggling a little bit at work to get promotions. He's worked there for decades, and everybody else has gotten passed over, or he's gotten passed over all the time. And so he comes home that night and he's having dinner with his daughter, and his daughter's in her, I think she's mid-20s, because I think her boyfriend's like 26. But the catch is the boyfriend is white. And so you got an old school brother, old school mom, and you got the daughter that has a white boyfriend, and they're over, I don't know, probably early on, meeting for dinner, having dinner. So, you know, all good, you know, kind of stuff always happens. There's always a debate and discussion in the black community about these scenarios. And so, you know, the father's a little bit upset and a little disgruntled, not because the son is, the future son-in-law is white. It's because the future son-in-law is sitting at the table and he's talking about all the things he's done at work and his recent promotions and all the projects he manages, all the stuff that the dad wants to be able to do. And so, of course, he's not happy, the dad. And so later on, the wife pulls him aside. She's like, well, what's going on? You weren't really feeling today. And he's like, you know, I'm twice his age, I got twice the experience, you know, and, you know, they are passing me over and it's not fair. And she says, well, the wife says, well, hey, I believe in you 100%. Let me talk to him and find out, you know, what he did and what he's doing. And of course, the father has a lot of pride. He's like, no. And no, I'll figure it out, I'll figure it out. And so the wife goes anyway and talks to him, and he's like, oh yeah, I've been doing Couirsive AI. It teaches you all the tools and gives you all the training and makes it all happen. And you know, this is why I'm so successful. And he was talking, then the son-in-law says, well, his girlfriend's dad may be able to benefit from it too. So the mom says, well, send me the link. And so she comes to him later and says, hey, I talked to so-and-so, and of course the dad is not happy that he did it. But she's like, no, hear me out. This is what he did. He got the Couirsive AI course in 28 days. He got the certificate, and that's how he's able to manage all of these tools and productivity and all the other kind of stuff. So she leaves it with the dad, and he's kind of sitting there like, So the next thing you know, day one starts, the dad downloads the app, and you see him doing the activities, and he's going back and forth about his normal life, and 15 days into it, he's halfway through the course. And then day 28, he hits the enter button, and then the certificate pops up, and so he's achieved the goal. And so they had a major project at work that needed to get done, and major analysis, and he jumped in and used all of his AI tools, and they wanted to know, wow, like, how did you make this happen? This is like above and beyond what you normally do. He's like, I used Couirsive AI, of course, and 28 days, and you'll be able to get all the stuff you need. And of course, they want to have the whole entire company download the app and make it all happen, so, and in the end, some time goes forward. The father, he ends up getting a major promotion at work, like a significant promotion in title as well as pay, because he's pulling all this stuff off. And in the end, the daughter gets married to her boyfriend. They're at the wedding. It's a nice venue. Obviously the father, and mother paid for it. The father's looking really nice in his tuxedo, and the couple is there, and he walks over to them and he gives them an envelope either filled with money or a large check. And they're like, no, Dad, you didn't have to do that at all. Why are you doing this? And he's like, hey, things went well recently at work, so that's why I went ahead and did this. And so in the end, what ends up happening is he thanks them for getting him involved and getting him going in the Couirsive AI, and it all happens, it all works. So all good, all good. I'm not sure if I can go this way here, so let me see if I can get down this way and get to where I need to go. They've really got the road all blocked off. So all right, so yeah. So that's Couirsive AI, and like I said, they even had a scenario where, the guy sitting outside, actually they had one, she's a Latina, and she's been cleaning this building for 10 years, and she sees everybody coming and going and doing well, and some of the guys that work there, some of the white guys, they are not kind to her at all. They're being angry on purpose. And she finally ends up talking to one of the ladies that's an executive that's been there for a long time. And then she tells her, hey, you know this building better than anybody does. Only thing you're lacking is the skills. So let me send you this link, Couirsive AI. So of course, the lady does it. Her daughter sees that she's doing well and trying to get this happen, making this happen. And she ends up getting a certificate. Then like 3 months later, she's working in a major position there at the company. She's no longer cleaning, she's now, essentially running major projects. And so of course she's like, Couirsive AI is what made this happen, and I'm so thankful, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's they're very interesting commercials. And there's even one where this one sister, she comes into the place, and she can't find any babysitters at all. So she's got this job interview, And so she ends up having to bring her baby to work for the interview. And there's another guy from Wharton MBA. He's got 10 years of experience, multiple certifications. He sees her, he down disses her pretty hard for bringing her baby and all that. And so in the end, she ends up getting the job. And so she goes in to interview. The lady's like, oh, you brought your baby? She's like, yeah, all my childcare canceled. So the lady's like, okay, well, cool, no problem. I'm a mom also too. And then so she starts to talk about different scenarios. And of course, the sister, she's like, well, while I was sitting outside, I built this whole thing based on your business. And so the lady's like, well, what did you build? She's like, well, I built this whole scenario here based upon this. I don't have the actual data, blah, 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 blah. But it's definitely based upon what you guys need. So the lady looks at it, she's like, wow, this is incredible. Nobody here can really do this here. How did you do this? And so of course she says, Coursive AI, 28 days. And so while she was in between changing diapers, and she said she was also a single mom. So while she was in between changing diapers and doing all the other stuff that she has to do, cleaning bottles, and while her baby was sleeping, she would do 15 minutes a day, and she got her certification. So, like I said, I think my system thinks and knows that I'm black, that I would be intrigued. So literally, every commercial that they serve up to me, I take the time to watch it. And a lot of them, I turn around and share with Marilyn, and we'll watch them together. I'm like, baby, watch this. So it's almost like one of those vertical dramas. So what's my final thoughts here on Courseve AI? Like I said, I've never at all done anything with this program. I have no desire or no need to do the program, get the certification at all. But I think the thing you have to be aware of is, and I think that everybody knows that there are inequities in hiring minorities, Black Americans, all that as well, promotions, trying to push us out, all that there. And so I think these guys are creative and smart enough to know, I don't know who's behind it, that they can kind of market towards this affinity group and provide them with what appears to be a solution. And in the end, I don't know if it's something that will ultimately be effective or not. So it's one of those things. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? All right, man. So it's one of those things where who knows if it would actually be useful, and if any of these scenarios that it does are actually true. So all good, but like I said, all I'm talking about here is I'm just giving props on the actual ads themselves. And if you are in business, and you're trying to produce something for people to buy, one of the things I started doing now is I started using AI a lot for like my marketing. So there was a situation yesterday. Well, actually what I've been doing is I've been making thumbnails using AI, and I think I'll do a whole topic on this. The free version versus the paid version. And there's a significant difference in the quality of what you get and the output, so all good. And I even got to the point yesterday where I was like, well, I need new business cards. Let me just give it a quick prompt, and then created some incredible business cards, that I'm gonna go ahead and start using going forward. So I think it's very important to learn AI, to utilize it as much as possible. Whether or not this certificate will get you up to speed and it's worth the cost of admission, you're just gonna have to kind of, consider those things on your own. So like I said, I'm not here to endorse it in any way. I'm just saying that the ads are significantly very, very clever, and I enjoy watching them for sure. So that's it on that one there. Like I said, watch the ad if you like them. Let me know if you've been seeing them, let me know. And I'd be interested to see if the ads are actually geared specifically towards certain minorities. So there might be something that the Asian folks are getting served up, something that the white folks are getting served up. that's different than what I'm getting served up. And so if that's the case, it's true intelligence that they're using to be able to market their business towards success. So that's it, guys. That's all we're going to talk about there. So let's jump into the next topic. The next topic is, let's talk about types of relationships. So we're talking about romantic relationships. We're not talking about friendships necessarily, but if you're a girl that likes guys, or a guy that likes girls, or ladies that like ladies, or men that likes men, so however you decide you want to chop it up, this is kind of how things apply. And then there's always a gazillion variations that I'm not going to talk about here today, but these are just the groundwork. And so I think when you come into this world, a lot, especially if you go to school when you're a little kid and you're trying to build your esteem up and get some game and learn how to talk to ladies, or fellas or ladies trying to learn how to attract the guy that you like. We see it all around us. It's on television, it's in person, people in our families, so folks oftentimes are in relationships. And so, of course, there's a good side of relationships, and of course there's the bad side of relationships, but I'd probably say the good overall outweighs the bad. And so in this scenario here, what are we talking about? So we're talking about, so let's say that, for example, you decide that you want to, get in a relationship. Good morning. There's really only 4 relationship types that you can kind of look at. So like I said, there's 1,000 variations, but we're trying to look at the conversation of moving towards something that is meaningful and sustainable, and like I said, a lot of folks spend a lot of time watching the segments of my videos that talk about relationships, so that's why I'm doing this here. So let's assume that you're just getting started, or you've been in the game for a long time, just got divorced, or just broke up with somebody, or trying to establish, relationship for the first time with somebody if you're fairly young. There's really only 4 types of relationships. There's dating, there's boyfriend and girlfriend, there's fiancés when you're engaged, and then there's marriage, or being married. And that's it. So those are the main types. And like I said, I know that there's multiple variations of those, but for the most part, what applies to most people kind of falls into that. So if you're out here in these streets and you want to move towards marriage, you really have to go through these 4 stages. And so the first one is, you have to find somebody, male or female, that actually likes you and thinks that you're cool, that you enhance their life or provide great benefit. It's up to each person to decide what they're into. And so the first step is saying, hey, I think you're cool, and would like to spend a little bit of time talking with you and seeing who you are as a person. So you can, there's different variations of dating. I mean, the most simple example is get together, meet up at agreed upon time, sit down and talk, and if everything kind of goes well, then you kind of, that's the moment that the rest of your life begins. And if you're talking to somebody, you have a certain level of requirements or responsibilities that you like to have the other person meet. And if you do your initial assessment, you can decide, well, this is not going to work, and let me just go ahead and tap out cheerfully. Or you can be like, well, there's a lot of stuff that does work and a few things that don't work. Let me kind of see how these things go and maybe spend a little bit more time talking and getting to know the person. That way I can make a better decision. So that's it. That's dating. Identifying somebody that you think is cool, and going into a conversation period and determine if you guys are on the same page, and if you guys are, then you're good to go. So you're ready to advance to the next level. And in the early stage of dating, friends aren't involved, family's not involved. You don't really talk about, long-term issues until you get a little bit deeper into dating. You're ready to make the transition to the next stage, you know. And so, you know, I remember back in the days, I see it a lot of times on movies that took place in the, you know, post slave Reconstruction period, where, you know, young men would go to the father and say, hey, I like your daughter, I want to keep company with her. And so the father would give permission, and then the young boy would come over and sit on the porch with her, and they drink lemonade and laugh and talk. So this is kind of what the dating stage is. And so the next stage is actually boyfriend and girlfriend. And so, and dating doesn't necessarily have to be exclusive, but as you start to move towards something permanent, it becomes exclusive. You know, typically, it's like I said, it's not a 100% guarantee, but it becomes a little bit more, you know, a little bit more focused, and a lot of times you'll stop dating other people or stop talking to them, so on. So the next stage is when you get into your relationship. That's actually boyfriend and girlfriend. So you guys have come to an agreement and said, hey, I like you a whole bunch and you like me a whole bunch. And so let's just go ahead and just date and be exclusive in this thing and try to see where it goes. We're definitely above and beyond the dating stage, you know, so let's see how we can continue to progress. And so a lot of times in this stage, you know, you'll start to get friends involved or family involved, in a sense that you'll start to bring the person around. Maybe not right away, but at some point down the road, you start to let people know that you found somebody that's cool, that want to know a little bit more. A lot of times, some of the people, the men or the ladies in your life, will want to be a little bit more intrusive to get an idea of what the person's character is, you know, that type of stuff. And so eventually over time, they get together and you know, start moving forward, and they typically are a public relationship. And so people know about you guys. You may post them on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. They're not a secret at all in any kind of way. And so typically if things are working out great, you're gonna move more towards the next stage, which is becoming engaged. And so after you guys have done a lot of talking, a lot of discussion, and let me get up this thing here. So, all right. So you've done a lot of talking. You've done, hey, can you see me? Here, hang on a second. Let's sit here.
Distance
7.0
miles. Duration 48 minutes and 47
seconds.
Okay,
cool. So you get to the point where you guys are, you know, you've everything, all the boxes have been checked. You've talked with all the folks in your family, your friend group, and you turned around and said, hey, it's time to make this happen. So you decide to go ahead and get engaged. And at this point, you're trying to put your life together. And once you've done that, you know, you guys will set a date. You'll get the family involved and plan a ceremony. And it doesn't even have to be anything complicated. You can just go down to the courthouse and have a reception at the house, and that's all that it takes. It doesn't take much more than that. And everything else is all based on industry and people trying to make money off your behind. So, you know, you end up getting engaged and jump the broom, you're good to go. And then once you're engaged, you're married. And so once you're married, that is that's the permanent relationship. This is the person that you've decided to spend the rest of your life with. You put it all on your line for them, you know, for you as a couple, you know, kind of stuff. So it's all good. So that's kind of how the whole progression works. And so if you are, and what's the point of this whole exercise? Those are the 4 stages that you're looking at here. So dating quickly turns into boyfriend and girlfriend, which turns into engagement, which turns into marriage. And of course you can tap out at any stage in the process here relatively easily. But once you get married, you decide to tap out, it's a lot more work, you know. And so the whole point of this argument or this discussion here is to say that everybody's got to decide what they want in life. And if this is what you're looking for ultimately to get towards marriage or a long-term relationship, partnership, however you want to call it, there are stages that you have to go through to get there. And so there's no right or wrong. There's, of course, extreme examples on both ends. But if you're involved with somebody and they already have a situation that they have, or you're not the sole one, or they're giving you every excuse on why they won't move to the second stage, you know, which is, you know, beyond dating, you know, those are all red flags. And you're gonna have to make an assessment and decide if you wanna try to stick it out. But most importantly, you just need to realize that they're telling you everything that they wanna tell you without telling, and you have to make a decision whether you wanna stay or move on. But I'll tell you, and I tell people this all the time, if you stay in situations that aren't good for you, in the end, it's gonna block you from getting the blessing of a long-term relationship with a quality person that you so hope for and you desire. So like I said, these are always a test. You gotta determine what you want in life, and if this is the route you wanna go, this is the path that you have to go. And if there's any variations outside of this for, you know, men or women that you deal with, you're just gonna have to take it in stride and realize that you're only good enough for the person to keep you in a box. And no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you provide them, no matter what you give them, no matter how much time of your life you give them, no matter how much you do wonderful things or spend money on them, they're not willing to advance, and they're just really in it for, you know, a short-term relationship. So all good, nobody's tripping. How you doing? I'm not here to pass any judgment on you guys one way or another, but this is the advice I give everybody. If you want to be in a relationship long-term, at least in marriage, this is the path that you have to be on. If it doesn't work, you might have to tap out and seek other alternatives. So that's it, guys. That's enough of that one. And so kind of another topic that kind of piggybacks on this one a little bit, especially the last part I'm talking about here, is let's talk about always getting hurt and the lack of emotional intelligence. And so where does this come from? I talk to people all the time that always get their feelings hurt. And so what is getting your feelings hurt in simple terms? This is just a broad blanket statement. It's usually you kind of expect somebody to come out and do something or be something or do something for you, and in the end they don't do it. And so what ends up happening is you get your feelings hurt, you get upset, your expectations aren't met, you know, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, that is something that is self-induced. And so what I tell people all the time, okay, all right, appreciate it. Yeah. And what I tell people all the time is the only reason why you ever get your feelings hurt is because you expect more from people or from the situation than it's capable of delivering to you. That's it. That is the most simplest, most direct, most accurate, how you doing, form of defining what happens when you get your feelings hurt. It's because you've expected somebody to do more than what they're capable of. All good. We're not even tripping, you know, so. And I think a lot of people, like I said, it's a very simple definition, but a lot of folks don't heed it at all, you know, and they always continue to go back and forth. So like, what's a good example of some of this stuff? Let's say, for example, you have somebody that you're dating that you really, really like, you know, and, you know, you could have, well, let's use something else. Let's say at work, you have a boss that you don't get along with, but you need to get along with them in order to get, the promotion and move forward. And it's obviously your boss doesn't like you based upon the workload and the way that they treat you, and the way that they treat everybody else there is opposite of how they treat you. And so you feel like if you can do more work or be more productive or put more hours in than anybody else, if there's a big project that is a butthole project and nobody wants to do it, and you can just jump in there and get it complete and do an excellent job, that this is going to give you the visibility to be able to move forward and move up. So you make it happen, you do an incredible job, you outshine everybody there, and what ends up happening, they end up giving the promotion to somebody else, and at that moment, you are hurt, you are crushed, you are destroyed, you're angry. But the thing is, you try to hold somebody accountable for doing something that they themselves have not committed to, and on top of that, that they had no reason to grant you a favor in the first place based upon how they've been acting, and so you went all out to try to see if you can make a difference. And in the end, your anger and your upsetness should be with yourself.
Duration 57
and
23 seconds.
That's the moment you should realize that, how you doing, man? At that moment you should realize that no matter what you do and what you continue to do, it's not going to make a difference. And then these examples can permeate across, having kids. You might have 2 or 3 or 4 kids, and all 3 of them have all done real well. They're on their own. But one just wants to stay in the basement and play video games. They're like 35, and you try to do everything you can do to help them and give them referrals and send them to job interviews, people that are hiring. But in the end, it never works out at all. So you get upset, you get angry, you get disappointed. And so in the end, the person is just doing themselves, but you expect more of them than what they're capable of. So what do you have to do? You have to adjust yourself going forward and realize what you are dealing with, and then make a permanent decision to fix the problem. This could also be when it comes to being in a relationship. You can be in a relationship or a marriage with somebody. You can, let's say for example, you've been dating somebody for like 13, 14 years, and you want to get married, and they're like, yeah, I want to get married one day too. And every Valentine's Day, every Christmas, your birthday, your anniversary, you're expecting the person to drop down on one knee. Even before that, you took them to the store and went ring shopping and showed them what you wanted. They're like, yeah, I can afford that. And it just never materializes at all. And so what do you end up doing? You end up getting upset and angry, but you've put so much energy and effort into something that's not working for you that you're not strong enough to walk away and go achieve and get what you want. And so a lot of times a person or situation thinks that they know you as much as you do. And I've been in relationships before where I've ended them, and I've had people say, wow, I didn't expect this to happen. Well, or as soon as it did, or some of those kind of variations. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm strong enough, and I care about myself enough to do what's in my best interest. There's a point where I stop beating my head against the wall, and I just accept the way things are. And so that's all part of being emotionally intelligent. And so what is the definition of emotional intelligence? You read it to you guys. So it's the ability to recognize, understand, and effectively manage your own emotions while also understanding and influencing the emotions of others. So like I said, you expect more out of people than what they're capable of. In the end, you're not being true to yourself. You're gonna end up hurting your own feelings, and you don't have to do that. So you're gonna have to make some hard decisions and decide if what you get at a minimum is enough, And if it is, you know, whatever. And if it's not enough, you got to figure out, are you going to cut the cord right away? And this can go for your job or relationship that you might be in, or are you going to try to figure some other stuff out in order to line something else up? That way you have a smooth transition out to the other side, and then there's no reason to look back. So, like I said, I encourage everybody to understand that the reason why we get our feelings hurt is because we expect more of other people than what they're actually capable of. So nothing wrong with that at all. You just have to exercise a little bit of emotional intelligence and say, well, this is all they can do. Am I willing to accept it? And if they are, you gotta find peace with it and realize that at some point down the road, some people are like, well, I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna hope and I'm gonna get on my hands and knees every day and ask for a miracle and all that. What you're just buying yourself some time until hopefully the person has a catastrophic event that will cause them to change their mind and how that they are running. And so if that catastrophic event happens, but it doesn't cover the issue that you have, you're still on the sideline, holding your own nuts, just kind of waiting for something to change. So like I said, I've had many people in my life tell me, you do stuff that I could never, ever, ever do, and I want to do. And I'm like, hey, all you have to do is just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. And so the first step is to make the first step. Then after that, every step after that gets easier. So that's it, guys. That's all I want to say about having unrealistic expectations for, life and people and relationships and careers, etc. That you expect more out of people than what they're capable of, and when they don't deliver it every single time and they're consistent about their failures, you end up getting your feelings hurt. So let's just go ahead and leave it at that. Let's just jump on to the last topic. So these topics today, they all kind of relate together except for the Coursive one, but the first topic. But let's go ahead and talk about the last one. I got about about 12 minutes or so, about 10 minutes left. So the last topic we're going to discuss today is, what is it? Love is overrated. There you go, I said it. Love is overrated, and so what does that mean? Everybody out here on this planet, a lot of people are, especially, it's a little bit more of a Western cultural phenomenon where people have, instead of, marrying because of family or connections or other things, you end up going out on your own, because we've all seen movies like this where somebody might come from like an Indian culture, and in the Indian culture they traditionally have arranged marriages, and so that means that the child has really little say. This happens in Arabic cultures also as well. They have little say in who they want to marry. And so if you raise your kids up in a more modern society, they start to challenge some of these traditional things. And so, of course, you're trying to mate up two people together based upon family and connections and all the other kind of stuff. But the child is not happy. So one of the biggest things that can happen is the child advocates for themselves enough to say, you know what, Dad and Mom, you raised me with these values, you trust me, and so you have to trust me to be able to find love. And so the parents are like, okay, fine, we'll let you do it yourself, we won't make these connections that we already know. And so the hope is at that point that you can go out on this planet and find love. And so all the things that Hollywood says love is, all the romance books, all the commercials on TV, everything that's based on love, you're like, all I got to do is go out and find somebody that wants to be in love, and we got enough stuff in common to get along, and life will be good. But like I said, it's rarely ever that easy. It's not. And so like I said, love is overrated. And so love is the dominant emotion that people look for. And so how is that typically expressed? Somebody says, I love you, and you say, I love you back. And all that whole thing. And so this is why I talk about it being absolutely overrated, you know. And so, and this is the thing, if you look at somebody's childhood, there's different variations of it. I'd probably say a lot of children that are born grow up being jealous of their friends' family. And so there's always one or two families that are super cool, or moms or dads, and they're like friends with the kids, but the kids listen and pay attention. And you know, you might have come from an extremely disciplined household and you don't get a lot of love and affection. You might even get some physical abuse that's designed to, you know, show you that you can move in a particular direction. And a lot of times in those environments, you're not being told that you're being loved, or if you are, it's in situations that don't feel good. And so, like a good example, this is probably the extreme, but if you watch we all are familiar with Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's father. You know, he had a very distant relationship with all of his kids. He was very abusive to all of them. And, you know, he didn't even allow the kids to call him dad, any of that kind of stuff. So he was at the very, very extreme end of the spectrum. Now, if we kind of relax things a little bit and pull things back, imagine if you grew up in an abusive household, but a lot of times the person that you called your parents, they would beat you or physically abuse you or be emotionally abusive to you, and then they would always throw in there, hey, you know, I'm only doing this because I love you and I want the best out of you in life, you know. So, and then like I said, there's other situations where you have your friend Johnny that's got like the best parents in the world and everybody loves them and all of the friends love his parents, and you know, the parents express love to him and they express love back, and so that's like on the other end of the spectrum. So a lot of times when love is expressed, and this could even happen in a relationship that you're in that is physically and emotionally abusive. You know, your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your wife may be physically abusive to you, and at the end they come and apologize and they say, you know I love you, it's always you know, it's like life is so tough, or you know, I just don't know how to keep this going, and you know I really truly love you. And so love in those situations is not good at all, the way that it's levied. So that's why I say love is overrated. If that's what you're looking for, there's a good chance that you can make a mistake because of the variations of love. And so what's the better thing to look for in a relationship? Look for like. And so like is and I'll tell you, you can be in a relationship with somebody, they can tell you they love you, they can go cheat on you, they can run up all the credit cards, all that stuff, because they say what they say, but they don't mean it. And so what is the greatest measurement when it comes to finding a relationship? If you can find somebody that really, truly likes you, that's in your best advantage, you know. And so if somebody likes you, they care about you, they cherish you, they want to take care of you, you know, they want to make sure you have a comfortable life. And this is on both sides. And no matter how much money you make or you don't make, you know, the expression of like can really come. And so if you have a car like a Ferrari and you really like it, you are going to take care of that car. You're going to go out there on the weekend and wash it and wax it and make sure the maintenance is done on it. You're going to be proud of it. You're going to put it in the garage underneath the cover. You know, you really appreciate that car and you really like it. And you can also have a Toyota Tercel that's 20 years old with 300,000 miles on it. You can also do the same thing with that car. You wash it, you clean it, you vacuum it out, make sure all the maintenance is taken care of in it. So it's not necessarily the cost that we're talking about, it's the emotional display of caring and like. How you doing? And so, you know, when you're out here on these streets, good morning, and you're trying to find somebody to yoke up with, I say F love. find somebody that really, really, truly likes you. And if you like them and they do everything to like you back, and part of like is showing appreciation and, you know, really caring for and all that. And if you can't get that from this person, I don't care if it's male or female, the person doesn't like you at all. And if they don't like you, if somebody doesn't like you, they can't love you. And if they can't love you, if they don't like you, they're not going to respect you at all either. So those are like the legs of the stool you have to be completely aware of, you know. And like I said, I challenge you to look back in your life and see the people that treated you the worst, or they were indifferent towards you, they didn't operate in your best interest. I bet you can analyze it and say, this person really truly didn't like me. And so no matter what you do and no matter what you did, the person did not like you anymore. And because they may have said that they love you, which is love is duty and obligation. Like is something that is shown. So love is said, like is shown. So if you guys can keep that in mind as you go forward in your life and you're trying to date and trying to deal with people in your life, etc. And just because somebody falls within a particular title or position in your life, that doesn't necessarily mean that they like you. So if somebody doesn't like you, all good. You know, you're just gonna have to deal with it and find out what the capacity that you can actually make it work with them. Like I said, don't get into the situation where you expect more from people than what they're capable of. And if they don't like you at all, you know, and they express some other version outside of like or how they treat you, just realize that they're not going to operate in your best interest. They're not going to look out for you in any kind of way. And so there's probably more people in this world that do this than that don't do this. So the only thing that you can do is just kind of adjust yourself and make sure that, you know, you minimize the impact, use emotional intelligence. That way you don't get your feelings hurt. So that's it, guys. I don't got anything else to talk about today. Those are the 4 topics. Appreciate you guys as always. Follow along with these cyclecasts. I'm always dropping these gem nuggets. If you don't never have anybody to talk to, you want to discuss something, you're not a client, reach out to me, $195 for about an hour. We can get you on the road to redemption. Take care, guys. I appreciate you. Peace. In my life. Shit. Okay. My brother fell. This is black ice. Okay. All right, I'm okay. All systems check. All right, I'm good. So let me just penguin it.